So, welcome to the second lecture of Structural Analysis 2 organized by Department of Civil Engineering PCCOER. And in this lecture, we are going to see the introduction to the slope deflection method, popularly known as SD method. This method relates unknown slopes and deflections at nodes to the applied loads acting on the structure, and hence the name is given as SD method, that is slope deflection method. It was originally developed for analysis of trusses by Heinrich Mandela and Otto Mohr, and later on in 1915 it was much refined and adopted to analyze indeterminate beams and frames by Mr. G.A. Mani. It's basically a displacement method, not a force method. So what do we understand by displacement method? The analysis starts with unknown displacements. That is, our focus is degree of kinematic indeterminacy. Once the unknown displacements are found, whether slopes or displacement, whatever it is, then unknown reactions acting at the supports are determined from compatibility equations. And then these are a couple of prerequisite or standard formulae that we are going to use in our lecture. So I am just revising them here, that when you have one end hinged and far end fixed, and if you are giving a rotation of theta at the near end, then the corresponding moment is 4ei upon L into theta, and at the far end the reaction generated is exactly half, that is 2ei upon L into theta. Obviously L is the span of the beam and ei is the flexural rigidity. And secondly, we have, whenever there is a translation, relative translation of one support with respect to the other support by an amount of delta, then the moment corresponding at the support corresponding to this delta is 6ei upon L square into delta, and at the other end also you get the same amount of moment generated, that is 6ei upon L square into delta. After the brief introduction to slope deflection method, let us actually start with the theoretical discussion. Let us actually enter the concept. So of course we are starting with development of slope deflection equations, SD equations. What is the basis? What is the fundamental underlying principle behind development of these equations? So that I have written in short: end moments MAB and MBA imagined to be generated due to loads, slope at each end, displacement at each end. So that is the fundamental underlying principle behind writing these superposition equations or SD equations. Now I will explain this idea clearly in our drawings. So please observe the drawings carefully. We start, for the sake of theoretical discussion, with a continuous beam. A and B are supports. L is the span distance between AB, E is the modulus of elasticity, I is the second moment of area, EI are supposed to be constants. And span AB has been loaded with some arbitrary load as shown here. Now what is our observation? That in case of such continuous beam, or in case of rigid jointed plane frame where we have, let's say, two columns and one beam rigidly jointed to each other, then because of several reasons, end moments and end shears are generated. In this discussion, we are ignoring or we are keeping aside end shears because end shears can always be calculated using equilibrium equations once end moments are known. So our SD equations will basically focus upon developing equations for end moments. What are the end moments? There will be some internal moment at A joint, we call it M of AB. There will be some internal moment at B joint, we call it M of B. Now what could be the cause for the generation of this internal movement? So overall we observe that there are in general 5 reasons, 5 contributing factors for generation of these end moments. The first one is loads. Because of loads and because of the continuity here, there is going to be give and take of moments between the adjoining parts and our present span, that is AB. So loads is the first cause. Secondly, joint A may rotate through theta A. Next, joint B may rotate through theta B. And there are 2 more possibilities, that joint A may translate and joint B may translate, as happens in case of sinking of supports, especially when we think of abutments of bridge over river. So these are the reasons: loads, near end rotation, far end rotation, near end translation, far end translation. These 5 things may cause to generate end movement, internal movement. So what we are simply doing, we are considering each cause one by one. We are just compiling all the effects, all the movements. We are just applying superposition principle, and what we are writing is our SD equation. For example, please observe. A to B span, same I have shown here, A to B. And then I am imagining that because of loading, AB becomes A prime, B prime. This is my A prime, this is my B prime. I will explain this diagram. Please listen to this carefully and please observe carefully. And I hope rather than watching on your mobile, you are either attending the lecture on your laptop or PC or at least some mid-sized tablet or something like that, because on mobile it is very difficult to look into the tiny lettering especially that I have written. So please observe carefully. A has been translated upwards through delta A and taking a position of A prime. B is translating to B prime and that translation is delta B. Both are upwards because that is our sign convention. Upwards is positive, downwards sinking down is negative. Next, end A has undergone anti-clockwise rotation theta A. For that matter, end B also has undergone anti-clockwise rotation theta B. Again, sticking to the sign convention, anti-clockwise rotations positive, clockwise rotations negative. So our ABB becomes A prime, B prime. Practically, of course, such large deformations are not observed. This is exaggerated diagram just for the sake of theoretical discussion. Because of all this and because of loading, because of slopes, because of deflections and because of loading, there are generated end moments M of AB and M of BA, again both assumed to be anti-clockwise, that is positive. And then what we are doing, we are just segregating, we are just sorting out and representing each effect one by one separately. For example, observe the first diagram after that, where I am showing fixity, that means there is neither slope nor any deflection. I am just focused upon effect of loads. So these are the loads because of which have been generated end moments, theoretically both being shown anti-clockwise, and I am calling them fixed end moments, MFAB and MFB. So this is one contributing factor to the end moment M of AB. See the second contributing factor. Now that I have considered loads already, I will not repeat loads in my further drawings because that factor, its effect is already considered. Now I am focused upon just theta A. I don't want any translation, any other rotation, just theta A. So I am assuming this support to be hinge support where rotational facility is given. Other support is fixed, no slope, no displacement, and then there is theta A anticlockwise. In our prerequisites, in our structural analysis 1, we have already seen that the corresponding moment is 4 EI upon L into theta A. And as a reaction, as a consequence, half of the moment is generated here, that is 2 EI upon L into theta A. This is also anticlockwise, this is also anticlockwise. Observe. Once this effect is considered, now I am considering far end rotation. That is, I am considering slope theta B. So I have fixed joint A, I have released joint B only for rotation, not for translation yet, and I am giving anticlockwise rotation theta B, corresponding movement anticlockwise 4 EI upon L into theta B, and of course half of it is generated on the other end or far end now, that is 2 EI upon L into theta B. Next I am considering near end rotation for joint A, near end translation for joint A. Next I am considering near end translation for joint A. Because I want it to be only translation, the support is shown to be fixed and A is translating upwards by delta A. Then corresponding movement, again from our fundamental results we are knowing, will be 6 EI upon L square into delta A. Here also will be generated 6 EI upon L square into delta A, both anticlockwise. And finally, I am going for pure translation of B joint, no rotation, so fixed support as it is I am showing to be lifted through an amount of delta B. Now what do I observe? Since delta B is upwards because I want it to be positive in my discussion, it is observed from the deflected shape that this is convex upwards and that is convex downwards. It is essential that I am showing these end moments generated because of only pure translation of B point as clockwise 6 EI upon L square delta B, and there also clockwise 6 EI upon L square into delta B. That's it. The way we have started developing this theory was simply this, that end moments are generated because of 5 different reasons: load, near end rotation, far end rotation, near end translation, far end translation. So those are the 5 different diagrams we are observing. Now what I will simply do, I will say that since these are all the contributing factors, I will just compile them, I will just superpose them, and that is my end moment equation. So precisely that is what I am writing here. Using superposition principle, M of AB, this particular end moment, M of AB, I am writing, you can read simultaneously in my equation and you can look at the drawings here and you will realize that it's a very simple and very interesting theory. MAB, end moment, is because of MFAB plus 4 EI upon L into theta A plus 2 EI upon L into theta B plus 6 EI upon L square into delta A, and minus, because this is clockwise, all other movements are anti-clockwise, they are positive, minus 6 EI upon L square into delta A. So that is precisely what we are writing in these equations. Please compare all the movements shown at A joint and see all these terms. M of AB is equal to fixed end moment, near end rotation moment, far end rotation moment, near end translation moment, far end translation moment. Now these two last terms may be combined and may be written as negative 6 ei upon L square delta B relative to A. How am I doing suddenly this short way expression? So that explanation I have given here. See, your last two terms are 6 ei upon L square into delta A minus 6 ei upon L square into delta B. Same I have written here. Taking common factors outside, 6 ei upon L square, inside the bracket I have delta A minus delta B. Delta A minus delta B will be delta A relative to B, relative translation or relative deflection. But then instead of writing A relative to B, delta A relative to B, I am writing delta B relative to A. That is when we read the problem or solve the problem from left end to right end. From left end to right end, I am writing right side joint deflection relative to left side joint deflection. 2 relative to 1. So if I am expressing like this, delta B relative to A will be negative of delta A relative to B, simply. So this same expression is taking up a form negative 6 ei upon L square delta B relative to A. So that is why these two terms have been reduced into a short expression like this. Obviously, same treatment I will give to joint B. That is, you are observing this M of BA, end moment in my original loaded structure M of BA is because of these contributions. So M of BA is equal to fixed end moment due to loads 4 ei upon L into theta B. I have written this quantity first because I am maintaining a sequence, fixed end moment, near end rotation, far end rotation, likewise. So I am first writing this term 4 ei upon L into theta B plus 2 ei upon L into theta A, another contributing factor, and then last two terms you are observing here 6 ei upon L square into delta A and clockwise, so negative 6 ei upon L square into delta B. Again these two have been combined because these are exactly identical to the two terms in my first equation. They are written in short as 6 ei upon L square delta B relative to A. Please observe, please note that the last term is same in both the equations, whether you consider M of AB or you consider M of BA. So this is the very simple and efficient development of slope deflection equations. And using these equations, you can solve a continuous beam, you can solve a frame, rigid jointed plane frame like that. So what are our equations? MAB is equal to MFAB plus 4 ei upon L into theta A plus 2 ei upon L into theta B plus 6 ei upon L square delta B relative to A. Last term is negative, mind you, minus 6 ei upon L square delta B relative to A. And then second equation M of BA is equal to MFBA, fixed end moment, plus 4 ei upon L into theta B plus 2 ei upon L into theta A, and plus means additionally negative of 6 ei upon L square delta B relative to A. There are many other forms of SD equations available in various reference books, but we will be sticking to this very simple, very fundamental form. So go through this carefully. It's nothing but just a simple superposition, and now using these equations we are going to solve a few problems on continuous beams, non-sway frames, sway frames, like that. So this is our first numerical example, and I urge you, as you pay attention to these steps, to the solving of this example, actually be ready with a paper, pen and your scientific calculator, because unless you solve it actually, unless you get the results, you will not feel confident, you will not feel happy that you have indeed understood the concept, understood the application. I cannot pause for your calculations in online mode, that is not practical, but you can pause the video, do your calculations, then start playing the video and compare the results. Then and then only you will feel that you are following the concept. So let's see what the example is about. This is a continuous beam which is fixed at A, fixed at C, and there is a roller support at B. On span AB, it is carrying a point load of 5 kilonewtons. On span BC, it is carrying a point load of 8 kilonewtons. If you observe carefully, you will be able to see that there is only one unknown nodal displacement in this problem, that is slope at B. Theta B is unknown to us. Fixed end A, slope deflection both are 0. Fixed end C, slope deflection both are 0. At B there is roller support, so deflection is not possible, but slope is possible, that is theta B. That is why I have written degree of kinematic indeterminacy for this problem is 1. The only unknown kinematical quantity is theta B. So let us assume, as per our sign convention, that anticlockwise is positive, clockwise is negative. Let us assume that theta B is anticlockwise. What am I trying to say is the elastic curve after loading, how the beam is deforming, somewhat like this. Where you are observing there is zero slope deflection at A, zero slope deflection at C, and this is our assumption that at B point the slope theta B on either side, because it's a continuous beam, so the slope will be same, is anticlockwise theta B. As step 1, I am writing fixed end moments. So what we are doing? We are restraining each joint. A and C are already fixed. The hinge or the roller support B we are assuming to be fixed. So those are the two diagrams, and then we are finding out the contribution to the end moments due to loads alone. That's why we are restraining joint B. This is fixed end moment MFAB. Fixed end moment MFBA, fixed end moment MFBC, fixed end moment MFCB. So these are the calculations. MFAB, the formula or the standard expression is PAB squared upon L square. A is the left side distance, B is the right side distance, 3 meters, 2 meters. P is 5 kilonewtons and L is the total span, which is 5 meters. On substitution, I am getting 2.4 kilonewton meter anticlockwise. Next, I am writing MFBA, which will be PA squared B upon L square. That will be 3.6 kilonewton meters clockwise. Do write down, do calculate, see that you are following, pause the video, see that you are getting the same answers, then and then only please proceed with the video. MFBC, that is this fixed end moment. Since the load is at mid span exactly, if I substitute here L by 2, then this expression reduces to PL by 8. Another standard result, I am getting 5 kilonewton meter anticlockwise. MFCB, again PL by 8, I am getting 5 kilonewton meter clockwise. Once we find fixed end moments, and once we have decided that we have only theta B as our unknown joint slope, we directly go to step 2, that is SD equations, slope deflection equations. So I am writing MAB, which is MFAB plus 4EI upon L theta A plus 2EI upon L theta B minus 6EI over L square delta B relative to A. This is our most general or generalized form equation. Now when I try to substitute, I see that a couple of quantities are zeros. That is, they do not exist in our problem. For example, if you look at theta A, in our original situation, A is a fixed support, theta A is 0. So directly I am saying this quantity is 0. There is of course theta b, so I am not going to do anything with theta b right now, but if you look at this, no sinking of support is mentioned. This is our first problem, very simple problem. So if sinking of support is not mentioned, there is no relative translation between the two supports, so that even this final quantity is going to be 0. If that is the case, I am left with only fixed end moment and this particular term, so that I am getting MAB, end moment at A point for span AB is equal to this. I am substituting from here, anti-clockwise means positive, plus 2 by 5 EI theta B, that is my equation 1. Then I am writing M of BA, end moment for joint B for span BA. So MFBA plus contribution because of near end rotation, contribution because of far end rotation, and contribution because of relative translation or sinking. Again, what do I observe? This quantity is present. There is going to be, or there is expected to be, some theta B. However, we know that theta A is 0 since A support is a fixed support. Also, no sinking of support is given, so even this is also 0, so that eventually I am getting M of BA as MFBA, which I am writing from here 3.6 clockwise, so I have written negative clockwise, plus this particular quantity 4 by 5 EI into theta B. This is my second equation. Same treatment I will give to the remaining span, that is BC span. So I am writing MBC is equal to MFBC plus 4EI upon L theta B plus 2EI upon L theta C minus 6EI upon L square delta right with respect to left, that is C relative to B. Let's see what are the things present or absent. Theta C is absent because support C is again a fixed support, there cannot be any slope. For that matter, sinking of support case is not given, so that even last term is 0. So I am getting end moment MBC is equal to fixed end moment. This I am substituting from here, anti-clockwise 5. So that is what I have written, plus this term as it is 4EI upon L, that is 5 theta B, equation number 3. I go ahead along the same lines. M of CB, end moment CB is equal to MFCB plus near end rotation contribution, far end rotation contribution, relative deflection contribution. Again, there is not going to be any theta C term. There is of course theta B term, but there is not given any sinking of support. So the last term is absent. So that I am getting M of CB is equal to MFCB. I am choosing from here 5 kilonewtons clockwise. So I am writing negative 5 plus 2EI by 5. That is this term I am copying here with substitution of L, and I am getting theta B as it is. This is equation number 4. Now if you look at equation 1, 2, 3, 4, there are 4 equations in 5 unknowns. Which are the 5 unknowns? Obviously, MAB is unknown, MBA is unknown, MBC is unknown, MCB is unknown. So 4 unknowns are on left hand side, and on all the right hand sides of these equations there is one common unknown, that is theta B. So we have 4 equations in 5 unknowns. That means I do require one more equation to solve this or to analyze this, and that equation will come from equilibrium of support B or joint B. If you imagine FBD of joint B, it is going to show M of BA, M of BC, and for its equilibrium it is necessary that the sum of moments about B point should be 0. So if I express sigma M about B equal to 0, I am simply getting moment M of BA plus M of BC. That is this moment and this moment, their summation should be 0, or those two moments should be equal and opposite, because our beam is continuous, so give and take have to be equal and opposite. So I am writing m of BA plus m of BC for joint B. That is my step 3, equilibrium of joint B. This should be equal to 0. Now how do I solve this? M of BA, I already have this expression. Negative 3.6 plus 4 EI by 5 theta B. That is my first term. M of BC, I have this expression 5 plus 4 EI by 5 into theta B. Those two I substitute here, I equate it to 0. Actually write, actually solve, you will find that this equation, one equation now contains common unknown theta B or the expression EI theta B. So I solve for EI theta B, I am getting EI theta B is equal to negative 0.875, or I can say theta B is equal to negative 0.875 upon EI. Now negative answer indicates that your original assumption was wrong, original sense was wrong. That is possible. So we had assumed theta B to be anticlockwise. We are substituting it as positive quantity in our analysis, and now I get a negative answer. It simply means that it is not anticlockwise as believed earlier, but it is clockwise. Fine, no issues. And now this answer EI theta B is equal to negative 0.875 if I substitute in equation 1, that is here, in equation 2, in equation 3 and in equation 4, you will realize that I am getting all end moments m of AB, m of BA, m of BC, m of CB. As I get a positive answer, my guess is that its anti-clockwise assumption sense is correct. If I get a negative answer, it simply means that those are actually clockwise, my assumption of those being anti-clockwise, and my writing of these quantities to be positive was wrong. That is perfectly alright. So positive answer here means anti-clockwise end moment. The negative answer here simply means a clockwise end moment. Now that we have end moments and we also know the loading on two spans using superposition principle, that is, you show end moments and you show span moments, you can directly develop bending moment diagram. So actually there is no need as such to develop FBD for each member now, find the end shears and then go for a detailed development. That is not necessary. If we have to draw SFD also, shear force diagram also, of course that step is essential. Otherwise, by superposition of end moments and span moments, you can directly generate BMD, and that is what I am developing now. So this is our bending moment diagram using superposition. What am I simply doing? At A point, we have the end moment 2.04 kilonewton meter. At B point, we have the end moment 4.3 kilonewton meter. At C point, we have the end moment 5.35 kilonewton meter. And then since we have point loads here, the simple expression for bending moment is PAB upon L. So using 5 into 3 into 2 upon 5, I am getting 6 here and I am getting 10 here. Since these are point loads, the variation is simply linear. So this is my bending moment diagram by superposition, and that is how we have analyzed a simple problem of continuous beam and indeterminate beam using slope deflection equation. Okay, so let's see what we have seen in lecture 2 today. First, we discussed the introductory part of slope deflection method. Then we discussed the basis of development of slope deflection equations or this particular method, and the basis is the assumption that end moments for any member are due to the combined effect of loads, end rotations, near end and far end, and end translations, again near end and far end. And then we saw development of slope deflection equations using simple superposition principle, that is by considering each individual effect, each individual cause, its consequence, and then simply adding all the effects. And we also discussed application of SD equations or SD method to one numerical example. So in the next lecture, we will be seeing a couple of more examples, and that will be that in the today's lecture. So thank you very much.